We all appreciate everybody coming out tonight to listen to this productive and constructive conversation amongst friends. I'm gonna introduce Van and Rachel first, and then they're gonna introduce their special guests. So without further ado, Van Lathan Jr. and Rachel Lindsay.
What's you guys' names? Hold on real quick.
No, this ain't a comedy show. Now stop.
What are your names? Embry? You're Bree? And see, I was gonna guess like Dan or something. You guys are sitting in the front here at the Reparations Club.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Thank you for your support. Y'all give it up for Sweet Booty.
He don't like it.
Sweet Booty
He doesn't
Beacham.
like it.
He forgot to say his full name. Y'all give it up for Sweet Booty.
Why I gotta sit in the back in the Reparations Club? I feel you, brother. We'll talk after the phone. Thank you guys for being here. Donnie, Sweet Booty Beacham, Chelsea, Chloe the Alien. Look at Chloe over there. Where's Ashleigh at?
Ashleigh's right back here.
Ashley's in the back. Hey, Ashleigh. You guys, it's the Summit of the Sexes. We've been talking about this for a long time.
Yes.
Yeah.
The day is here.
The day is here.
Are y'all ready?
So it's important. We want to say something real quick. This is the summit of the sexes. It's not the battle of the sexes. I see some of y'all right now, and y'all been hurt, and y'all waiting to see people get into it up here. But like, what we're trying to do is ask questions and have conversations.
You
right?
actually think that's going to happen? We are going to start off asking questions, but I feel like there's going to be a battle.
See how she always wants us. She want
But
to fight
we're
right now.
moderating.
Right.
We brought other people to battle it out.
It's true.
It won't be us.
So all of y'all to be on the Reddit talking about me and all of my toxic stuff.
Who's
I'm
on
not
the
even
Reddit?
going. I'm not name somebody.
Who's
Raise
on
your
the
hand if you're on the Reddit.
It's on the Reddit. That's okay. We don't. That is a lie.
Some
I can
of
tell
y'all
by
on
the
it.
smiles on the faces.
Some of y'all on it, but yeah. So for us, it's really just about kind of bridging the gap and really seeing if a lot of these issues that get overblown or blown up on social media, if there are real perspectives or if people just showing out. That's how I feel.
Yeah, and I think this is a safe place to hash it out because we can only do so much with each other, and we thought, you know what? Let's bring it to the Thought Warriors.
Absolutely.
Let's bring it to everybody else. So without further ado, should we bring out our guests?
Sure. I'm gonna introduce my dudes one at a time.
Okay, go ahead.
Because I don't want them to come out together because they don't like that kind of thing. So you guys hear me talking about the Player Proof crew. First of all, shout out to my boy Ryan back there. Ryan, say what up. That's my oldest friend in the world. I don't give a fuck about that nigga. Hold on real quick. Yo, oh my God. Damn.
It's Ryan, stand up.
Whoa,
Ryan, stand up. It's
bro.
because you didn't stand up. Stand
Yeah.
up.
Yeah,
Thank
Ryan.
you. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go, Ryan.
Jesus Christ. I met him in first grade. Like, it's a long time. All right, first, my boy Ian, Player Proof crew. Ian, come out here and say what up to everybody. Look, it's Ian. Ian is a newlywed. His beautiful wife, Dacia's here. Yeah, you sit wherever you want right here.
No, we're bringing different energy over here. Don't try to sit on this side.
Yeah. Right, you're going to go ahead and introduce. Let's do it like it's let's do it one by one.
Okay,
like
we can do it one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I am bringing to the stage not just my sorority sister, my line sister who came all the way from Houston, H-Town, Texas, Shannon Stokes. She's in the building. She's gonna bring all the energy. We rode here listening to all the angry music to get ready for this. We are ready to go. She's an attorney as well. University of Texas in the building. It's my line sister, Shannon Stokes.
Wow, won't be no.
Yeah, Ian, Ian is a pharmaceutical. He got to make a lot of money. Like, we're going to give people a whole LinkedIn.
Relax.
Then, yeah, so he try to outdo me. Geno McGlaughlin from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He is a social community activist dude. He a Kappa. Look at him. Look at him. No, you're right here, man. Sit down. Say what up to everybody. How you doing, bro? It's good to see you.
What's happening, y'all? What's going on?
That's it. That's the whole squad, man. Fear them.
Okay.
Fear them.
Well, I'm not done.
Fear them.
Because coming to the stage, last but not least, none other than Nina Parker. You are familiar with her. I could list out a laundry list of all the things that she represents.
She a star.
Van may have known her first, but she's my friend today, and she's here to represent also a fellow soror from Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated.
Shout out to you,
That's right.
I can't even hate.
Yes,
Right.
you. I know Van first, but you keep in touch.
And we're ready to go. Let's go.
Okay. It started.
Nina put me on. I'm not even gonna lie. Before we even get started, Nina put me on. I was at TMZ. It was like a lion's den of angry, weird whites. And Nina took me under her wing. And I'm serious. I probably would not be here right now if not for Nina Parker. Give it up for Nina Parker. Nina put me on.
It's true.
Absolutely.
I got to tell you guys a story really quick. The TMZ's tours had not started yet. Van had started doing the TMZ tours. I don't think he even remembers this story. So they were taking the staff to like do test runs. And at the time, I had been on the show for maybe like a couple of years. And I remember Van goes, how does it feel to be on TV every day?
Yeah.
And I come up to him and I say this sometimes because I'm like, how you feel now? Because he came in, he had all this really good energy and people weren't speaking.
No one was talking to me.
People don't speak when you first start there.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, black man, like let's have a conversation about how to get it on over here.
And sometimes when I would get like a little bit outside of myself, she'd be like, come on. We don't need you to dance for him. All right. Okay, look. A lot of things that we could talk about, but I want to start with some of the recent conversations we've had on the show, specifically around wants and needs. Rachel, remember this conversation that we
How could I not?
Meg Thee Stallion said that she did not need a black man, but that she wanted a black man. Want over need. And Rachel, do you remember your perspective on this? Of course you do.
Yeah. And to add to it, you just sent this in today. Keke Palmer just got on stage and said that she didn't need a man. She needs a bag.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I don't have a problem. I think we're focusing too much, and I said this on the podcast, we're focusing too much on the words. I think it is beautiful to want something. I think that it is beautiful to desire, to choose that. You make that choice. There's power in that. And you disagree with me.
I did. I think the need is very important. I think the need demonstrates intent and what the goals are. Fellas, how do y'all feel about not being needed? Y'all come or take it or leave it. Y'all niggas go fight war, whatever, but they don't want y'all around. How's that feel?
I'm trying to decide how toxic I need to be. No, so
Gosh.
I'm saying
your true self.
I feel like that's why we're here, right?
Take the mask off.
And with the lean back dog, that was weird, bro.
Yeah, did you see it?
Yeah.
I was trying to get comfortable. So for me, I disagree, right? So I definitely believe that I do need a black woman. I need a woman, period, right? First of all, just in terms of community, none of this exists without y'all, right? And so this community, this space that we're in right now, which is really dope, right? Really vibrant. It's because of the kinship that we share. It's because of the relational value that we have within our community. And so even if we're talking about a relationship with myself and a woman, I need that woman, right? I need her support. I need her, like my days don't, like if I'm with a woman, I'm with you, right? And so you set the tone for my day. You set the tone for how the household runs, right? And so I can't see within the context of relationship, me devaluing that. And I'm not saying that's what you're doing, right? I just can't see myself devaluing that. And then also too, just in terms of relationship, I can't see myself not needing a woman because, I need a woman.
Yeah,
you feel what I'm talking about? You feel what I'm talking about?
That's because y'all don't be knowing what to do.
But you're man.
We're being honest. Like y'all don't be knowing what y'all don't know how to do stuff sometimes.
Look, you're man enough to say that you need a woman. Yeah. I'm man enough to say the same thing. I think about songs like from Anita Baker, like "Giving You the Best That I Got."
Oh, he R&B.
On that song,
right.
on like the first line
Talk to him.
is there anything I can give you?
Come on.
Because of what you've given to me.
Just sing it.
Don't
Is
say
there
it.
anything I can give you? We ain't gonna do that.
Right.
No, listen. But real talk. But that opening line right there, like it's so powerful of the era of women. The song came out in 86, 87. So the women thought differently then, and I think women prepared a household, prepared a family. They were business women. They were so many different things, and men value that. We value that. So I think this generation, you bringing up Keke and Megan. They are examples for the new generation. So what are they setting? What tone are they setting? I don't think that's cool across the board.
What tone? I mean, these are powerful, successful, amazing women. I think
So is Anita Baker?
Yeah, I mean, Anita Baker is too. when she's not arguing babyface. But I think these are women who, things are different now. I think more than ever, there have been blurred lines when it comes to roles. I don't think there's ever been a time where there have been, a lot of the switching of the roles, and where it hasn't been as big of a deal either. I know a lot of women who take care of the household and the man stays home. And I think whatever decision you decide to make within your home is your business. So I think when we see men who are talking about, like Kiki's man who leans into like, well, she needs to be a traditional woman. He's not a traditional man. So if you want to lead, be a leader.
Does he use those words like she needs to be a traditional woman?
He didn't have to.
No.
Yeah. What he was saying, he didn't
have to. He said, you a mom.
He was playing into certain stereotypes that are placed on
he wants her
women.
to stick to a certain role, but he's not.
Do you feel that, what do you think about specifically what Megan and Kiki had to say, want versus need? Did you have a problem with Kiki or Megan saying that they don't need a man? Because what Megan said was, I don't need a man, but we want you. And see, I thought that was beautiful the way that she phrased it.
I think that people are taking it too literal. I think that, I am a believer we're not meant to do life alone. So I do believe that we all need each other. But it's obvious, like what Nina was saying, that in today's society, we've been taught, our generation, to be able to take care of ourselves. But that is, I believe in, self-actualization, right? Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And love is on there, right? But at first, it's like safety, there's like 3 other levels before you get there. So it's like you have to have a baseline level of being self-sufficiency and being able to take care of yourself before you can get to the point that you are loving yourself and offering your love to someone else. I don't think that you should approach partnership from a place of need. And I think that that's what they were trying to explain. Like, they can take care of themselves and they are choosing the men that they're choosing. That's how
you have to consider the source, right? You have to consider what somebody is going through and we all go through phases. Megan is young, she's dating, she's fresh out of a long-term relationship, she's single right now. She's giving off single girl energy, single boss girl energy. Kiki is clearly going through something in her relationship. So right now her focus is probably her child and her bag, the things that she can control. So I think you have to consider your source. If you're speaking to somebody who's married, that may be a different conversation. Do any of us need somebody? Or, probably not. We could probably all be fine.
I think we actually do need.
No, I don't agree with that. I think could we live this life without somebody else? Have people done it? Sure. But so I do agree with the statement that, do I need this? Probably not. But do I want it so bad that it becomes kind of a need? Yes.
But so imagine we together, right? And I say to you,
wait a minute now.
No, I'm follow me now for a second, right?
Geno.
So imagine I turn to you.
Geno.
Imagine I turn to you. Almost like Toxic Martin, right? When he looked at Gina, he was like, "Damn, Gina, I will marry you." Imagine me turning to you and say, "You're nice to have, but I don't really need you. You're nice to have, though."
That's not the framing, though. Why does the framing have to be so black or white? Why do you guys take it like, "Here, nigga"? That's not what it is. That's not what she's saying.
So this is what I'll say is the reason why I look at it as kind of like I look at it through a different lens. So obviously in your singular interpersonal relationship, right? Everything is a want or a need besides, food and all of that stuff, right? But if we're thinking about what we want to do as a collective, not black person, but black people, the question then becomes, what's the calculus to that? Like, what's the calculus to us having the most stable, the safest, the most economically sound, the most vibrant community? And that to me begins with the black family. That begins with the unit of people that can rely on each other in a house. And so to me, the need, sisters can do it by themselves. And unfortunately, if we're being honest, they've had to do it by themselves far too often. Sure. But the need comes from, we need to have a situation where young black boys understand the value of their mothers and their sisters, and they're taught that by men. We need to have situations where where women have someone to be there for them postpartum, where they have someone to be there with them while they're pregnant. Like, those things are needs that make us better. And to say that we don't need them, but we want them, to me, sometimes undercuts the seriousness of the situation that we're in America. If I was going to throw that in, that's kind of what I would say.
And I would just say, that's why I say it's more powerful to want, because we're all agreeing that, you know, we're in a different place in society and the way that the dynamic is with men and women, and we don't necessarily need that. I get what you're saying, but we don't need, like, we could do it on our own, but because we don't need it, but we want it, doesn't that sound more powerful?
No.
And also, it doesn't make headlines. It doesn't make headlines when a man says it, because I mean, how many rap lyrics do we hear all the time who are saying like they don't need women,
and they wrong.
It's shown.
And they
okay,
wrong.
but what I'm saying
and y'all
is
spoke
when
up about
women
it at the time
say
too.
We speak up about it, but I don't think it makes as much headline at all. But when a woman makes those types of statements, you know, and we talk about the black family, we don't know if Meg or Kiki will end up with a black man.
I mean, no, they might not. But I mean, I guess what I'm saying to that situation, I'm not going to, but I guess what I'm saying to that situation is it's not about whether or not they will end up with a black man. It's about, to me, what's my vision of a healthy black community, right? And so, to be real with you, and we talked about this on the podcast, for far too long, men have devalued, debased, and subtracted themselves away from black women. We know that, right? And in the songs, that happens a lot. I will say this, though. If there is a guy who is either speaking extemporaneously or in an interview and he takes a direct shot at black women, I don't know why the beat changes it, because they do it every time they drop, but the retribution is swift. And I'm telling you right now, if that's an interview, let's say that that's an interview with, I don't know, give me somebody that's on Meg's level, not the nigga that went to jail. But anyway, if that's, and he says, you know, we don't really, huh?
Say it was Drake.
If it was Drake, the world would, the eyes of the ladies in the world would bleed if Drake goes, you know, I want a black woman, but I don't need one. That is going to be a nuclear bomb.
She didn't say black men. If he would have said, if Drake did an interview where he says, yeah, which by the way, I think Drake has done songs where he says I only love my bed and my mama. I'm sorry. True. Like Drake often says he doesn't.
Well, she was at the Essence Fest, so she was talking to niggas.
Let me tell you something. Right. For the way that people were talking to Meg during this trial, they lucky she didn't say other things.
Yeah,
Word.
that's
fine.
You lucky that's all she said.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of black men who were not defending Meg publicly.
But it's a lot that
public
were,
figures.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
There were two that were.
Meg would have a reason to feel the way she feels in this moment on that stage, and I'm surprised she didn't get on the pulpit and say more.
Yeah, but she was with a boy. She was not with a man. In that scenario, and he's straight clown. But in the respect, there's a lot of men that were definitely standing up for Meg in terms of what happened to her. So that doesn't give her an opportunity to just go out there. Well, she can say what she wants to say, but in saying that doesn't mean there's no backlash that's not that's deserved. I just Well,
I'm just saying that she has a right to the support for her. In my opinion, publicly was way more heavy on black women and women in general.
The problem is,
and I feel like, absolutely.
But her voice is so powerful. She's so many young women are looking up to her. And again, I use that Anita Baker reference in terms of talking about back in the day. She is now like women like Meg Thee Stallion are those figures today. So there are young women looking at her and what she's saying, and they're going to look at that like that's the way I need to be. And ultimately, that is to the detriment of our community.
I guess I just feel like we're just missing something. We'll move on to the next topic because we have other things to cover. But if Meg had stood up there and said, we don't need y'all, and kept it moving, it would have been I could see everything that y'all were saying. So she's saying you can be self-sufficient, you can be independent, you can be all these things, but we still want y'all. We still desire to have y'all in our life despite everything else. I think.
Can I be
No,
all the way real? I'll be all the way real. The biggest thing that bothers me about it is we all know it's not true. Like we know y'all don't mean it. We know that it's a rallying cry, 100%. That it's something that we know y'all don't mean it because
but is it part of
it? Like that you guys don't need.
Tell us what we need, man.
Look. No. What I'm telling you is this, and it's interesting, right? Because I make my whole life I have conversations, and so in a conversation, you listen to somebody or you watch somebody. Like time after time after time after time, do a thing. And then they turn around and they say that the thing that they're doing, they're doing it for a completely different reason than why you see them doing it. So I listen to Black women all week, day long, talking about how much they need Black men to step up, how much they need Black men to be present, how much they need Black men to be involved, how much they need Black men to be economically, emotionally, and spiritually healthy. And then by that same flip side, and then what I do is I go to other Black men and I say, hey, your sisters need you. They need you to do these things. When there's a tape of a young man assaulting a woman, I'm like, that's our fault. They need us. When women can't get what they need, economically, whatever, we have to be better. They need us. Then, after all of that, of watching that, of being emotionally and intellectually informed by Black women, the hole that is left in their lives because of the absence of Black men, then it's like, but we don't. And so, like, to me, I'm not in any way trying to speak for Black women. I apologize if it came out like that. But what I'm saying is, when y'all do speak, I hear y'all. And I hear what you say. And then when the pivot comes, I'm like, I don't think that's constructive. And I understand that might be the way she feels, and she has an emotional sort of edict to feel that way. But still, I'm like, that's not where we're trying to go. That's not where I'm trying to bring the Black men that I lead. I'm not trying to bring them to a situation where a Black woman is a take it or leave it. It makes my life better. Nah, I want you to need to choose her, and I want you to need to be better. Kalika's here right now. Like, Kalika's in the back, right? And we have had a relationship that's had high highs and really low lows. But I think sometimes the thing that keeps us together is this feeling that, like, this Jenga puzzle makes sense, that we're supposed to be together. And that's kind of when I felt that from her, it's just like it was emotionally unfamiliar to me.
Did you feel insulted by what she said?
No, because I don't need her. No, I'm just joking. No, I didn't feel insulted. I just felt
Okay, in listening to what you just said, everything, you did feel insulted. You
Okay.
did.
Feels like you were
Yes.
now who's speaking for who?
But also,
We're listening.
But I was saying also, I mean, everything that you're saying is all the reasons why she's saying if we're saying Black men, if the Black men don't have those things where they're right within themselves, she is saying we don't need you if it requires us to sacrifice ourselves, right? So she's saying if I'm already here where I'm able to provide for myself, I have, and I'm seeking the emotional support, just like what you had mentioned. That's what she's saying. Like, I am taking care of myself, right? But what we need is for you to step it up, just like you're saying.
But
I think that's where it's coming from, right?
Isn't that inherent though? Like, we were born to take care of ourselves, right? Like, so we show up here as individuals first and foremost, right? And so whether it's entering a relationship or even it's just the community, we are here as individuals first and foremost. So we know that we can take care of ourselves. None of us technically need each other, right? To be human, right? My existence does not depend on whether or not, you're there or not. However, the value that is inherent is also, I mean, as humans, right? We are relational. And so I need human connection, Black, white, whatever. I need human connection, but also within this relationship that we share, this kinship that we share in this community, I need y'all. And in a relationship, Black woman, I need you, right? And I also want to be wanted too. Now, I didn't take it personal. Definitely didn't take it personal, but because she wasn't talking about me, because she would need me too. But my point is, if we jokes, but my point is though, within this dynamic that we share, I want to be needed, and if it's off at all, I'm gonna choose somebody that does need me in some sort of way, not monetarily, not she
needs you.
Yeah, she needs me.
Y'all just need to be needed. That's
absolutely.
What I feel like.
I want to be needed
For sure. Just really need
want to be needed.
Y'all, I feel like men really need to be told that they are needed. I feel like that is the framing of that. You really need to hear that. But speaking as a Black woman, I felt like Meg was a little bit. And I can only speak for myself and the Black women that I know and that I communicate with. For me, a little bit of it sounded like she was talking from a place of personal and maybe from disappointment, because I think, when you were talking about the community and how Black women need Black men to do all of the things that you listed, I can also list a lot of instances where they just didn't show up in droves.
They don't.
And where Black women had to, and the saying like Black women have to do everything didn't come from no place. It came from a place where a lot of times the only people that were speaking up, that were taking a stand, were Black women. And if we're speaking specifically about Meg's situation, Black women believed her from jump, and the majority of, because obviously there are people who didn't. But there were a lot of Black men who I would see, well, we need to see the evidence, we need to hear this, or there were clear things that just happened where people still were hesitant to support. And I'm only speaking from her instance because she's the one who talked about it. But I think a lot of times when you get disappointed in general, you start to be like, okay, I don't need this. This is something I want, because when I needed you, you did not show up for me.
It's a survival tactic.
It's a survival tactic.
Okay, so,
I feel like-
I'm gonna put a little vulnerability out there right now. Ryan, Geno, and Ian. All right, y'all all know the relationships that I had with women back in Louisiana.
Yeah.
Black ladies.
Yeah.
Very clear.
How did these women treat me?
Which one?
I was about to.
I was so let me be real. I was a guy. I was much bigger than I was right now.
Yeah.
I was not the nigga. And to be honest with you, to be honest with you, I'm not. I'm just being for real. I got treated like shit. There was always some other dude that was better, that was in a better situation, that was more like, I'm the kind of guy that I would study with you. I would help you with your homework. I would do whatever I had to do. Persistence. I would wait you out through a couple of these Kappa niggas.
You're well
You know what I'm
done.
saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would
Shout out
wait
to
you
the
out
Loops.
through a couple of these Kappa niggas and do the thing. That doesn't give me the right to, for the rest of my life, like look
Exactly.
at Black women and say that they ain't shit.
Ex-
I'm sorry. Like I have to.
Exactly.
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is I understand that there is disappointment. I understand that things like that happen. But I'm telling you that, like, I think a lot of men get into the situation to where they really keep that energy. They keep the energy of, you know, when I wasn't on, there was always somebody better. When I didn't have this, there was always somebody better. And then when they get on, they batter Black ladies for a long, long time. And what I'm telling you is, for me personally, I understand that people might have been disappointed with one Black man after another Black man after another Black man. But like, there's a degree to it that I don't understand why we continue to judge people by like the sins of past people, because everybody could do that.
So I don't think it's just coming from disappointment. I think it's also like our generation, we're all generally the same age. And we are the generation that is focused on trying to break generational curses, right? So it's like, I can say, you know, on both sides of my family, there are marriages, strong male figures and female figures who still told me, be able to take care of yourself. And that was out of need, because in the 80s and 90s, little Black girls, like, we were taught we needed to be able to take care of ourselves. So I agree. I think this conversation is important because I hear what you're saying. Like, I think Megan was coming from a place of like a flex, but I could see where you're saying that it's counterproductive, but that's something that we have to unlearn, because we have a lifetime of being told, get the best grades, get the house, pay off your loans, do everything to be able to take care of yourself, and then find your partner. So we do all of these things and we're trying to find our partner. Like, I have a friend who told me she feels like she's being punished for taking care of herself. You know, so like, what is that saying? You know, it's like, if you were your sisters, your daughters, don't you want them to be able to take care of themselves?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And so,
Right to the next topic.
There's
Power
balance there.
dynamics, breadwinners. So that was a natural segue. Ian and Geno, would you guys be able to be in a situation with a woman that made more money than y'all, told y'all niggas clean your shit up and come in here and make some breakfast? What how,
You want to take that first?
Get to work.
Get to work.
Grown man. So first of all, don't talk to me like that. However, you know, in this changing dynamic that we have, right, with women.
This nigga sound like Steve Jobs.
No.
In the changing cultural landscape of
I want to see where he's going with this.
So the reality is, you know, we're in modern times, right? And so I know how to take care of myself. What does that mean, right? I know how to do dishes. I know how to do everything that a woman, the old labels that women are given, right? And so when I enter into a relationship, guess what? half the things that I already did for myself, I'm gonna continue to do those things within the context of a relationship.
Absolutely.
Why? Because it's also gonna lighten the load for her. There are no expectations that I have on her that I don't already have for myself, right? So when it comes to the monetary thing, which is the tricky part, I'm gonna keep it real, keep it funky.
Get to it.
Keep it funky. Because look, you know, we all see the memes. We all see the toxic memes, right? So I don't know if it's Justin or, you know, what's the poet girl? It's a whole bunch of toxic.
What do you think, Geno?
I think that women can't have it both ways, right? You can't have it both ways in the sense that you tell a man that your only value is tied to the amount of money that you make, but at the same time, give me all your money. And at the same time, we really don't need you, right? And so if I'm expected to be this modern man that is conscious of, you know, these shared responsibilities, then guess what? You also gonna have to come into modern times as well and share a little bit of this other.
What if she's making more? So you get into
if she's making more, that's cool. That's cool.
You
I'm
used the
good with
scenario
that.
of
I'm
us
good with that, but you
before.
better be good with that too, though.
Okay.
If I have to be good with that, right, and shrink a bit of my ego, which is tough to do. If I got to tuck my chain in, right?
But would it hurt your ego if your woman made more than you?
It wouldn't hurt my ego at all. I mean, I do pretty well. So if my woman's making more than me, we up.
We up.
Straight up. So, I mean, my wife does, you know, she's a career woman. She's a nurse and she, you know, we have a business and she helps me run that business. And I actually have a few businesses, but in that space, I need her help with that. So, but if she had, well, we have another thing that we're investing in for her that will be her own thing. And I hope it is one that makes us even more money. But if she made more money than me, I'm okay with that. Like it doesn't make me feel small at all. No, because it's not like I'm broke. So if I make 20,000 and my woman's making 300,000, I could still be with her because I can learn something from her. But in the sense of where we are in terms of where we're living right now, if my woman made more than me, I would be happy with that.
I have not had this experience at all.
Hold on. Bullshit. I know things about it.
I have not had this experience at all with men. Every man that I have dated within the last couple years has had a major issue with my success and the money that I make. And I'm not even trying to get on here and brag.
How did you flex on him? Did you flex on him?
What do you mean when I flex? When I roll up in my car? Is that a flex?
Yeah, she's supposed to have like she doesn't have what she has.
The thing is like I have a lot and I've worked really hard for it. So I'm not gonna hide it.
You should.
So I'm not hiding.
I heard periods back then.
And I'm not, when I flex, it doesn't mean I'm coming in like walking in the date, throwing money on the. But I've had men be like, okay,
you need to be with a confident man. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, I think
that is so.
I think secure men are very hard to find these days.
You're right. There's a lot of lame ass niggas out here. I see them all the time, so it's true. But you know, if you were someone that's confident, you know, I look at not trying to gas myself, but I'm a confident guy. I'm not really insecure about anything. I know I'm not perfect. I know I have flaws, but none of my flaws make me feel small. So in that, I don't care. Like if you make more money than me, I'm still happy with where I am.
Have you been with a woman who made more than you?
Yes.
And how did you handle it? Okay, that's what I want to know.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I remember she did.
I did, and she made way more money than me.
Yeah.
And again, I had a good time. We took trips. It didn't stop me from working.
But dig deeper there though. I mean, yes and no, right? It didn't necessarily make you feel the type of way, but it would. I think you would say that it motivated you.
Sure.
It made you go harder because you didn't want to.
Oh, I know who we're talking about.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, relax.
Yeah.
Relax. Baby, I love
Wife
you.
is
I gotta
here.
relax.
She who should not be named, right?
Come on, man.
She who should not be named. But no, I mean,
the world's seeing this, right? Oh shit.
Whether or not you felt less than, I agree with you there. But you felt something that provoked you to get your shit together, right?
Again, it motivated me. Like I said, if my woman's making more than me, if I gave the scenario about 20,000 or 300, I want to learn from her.
Yeah.
Like I'm big enough to say, okay, my woman is this businesswoman. She's smart. She has these ideas. Teach me. Put me on game.
Oh, yeah, teach me.
Listen, if I don't make any money, and she's making that type of money, I need to learn something.
I know this is a later topic, but the teach me, the potential.
I mean, we got to teach each other.
We teach each other.
There are things that I know that you don't know, and I'm gonna put you on game.
That's vice versa. Absolutely.
Shannon, you're out here in the dating world. What has your experience been? You're an attorney. You've been practicing for 15 plus years. What has your experience been like dating men? And do you find the Ians who are excited about that you make more, or has it been difficult?
I mean, I'll be honest, I generally try to stick to men who make about what I make because it's just easier. You know, I'm not looking for someone to provide. I plan to work and be able to provide for myself forever, right? But I know there's a guy I dated. I'm an ambitious person, so I like mindset. And I know that there was a guy I dated who was like, I could make more, but I just don't want to work those many hours. There's other things I'm more interested in. That was unattractive to me because it's like, if I come home from a long day of work and I'm just like, man, these are all the things I had to deal with, to be like, well, that's why they pay you the big bucks. Like, that's not attractive. You know what I mean? We don't have similar mindsets. But for me, like, it also depends on like what the person values. Like, I value security above all else. I want to reach out and touch my money. I want to be able to see it. I want to know. I have a perpetual fear of being broke. I'm not going to be. It's unreasonable. But that's why, like, I seek partners where I know that it's like, regardless of what he makes, I like a man who I can tell. It's like, if I were to lose my job and he had to go out there and, you know, wash cars, he would make sure we were taken care of. So I like hustlers. That's what I look for. Legal hustlers. Yeah. But, you know, it's someone like, for me, I want someone who, when I think provider, I mean someone who's going to get it done. Like,
emotional support.
Yeah, emotional support. And
Absolutely.
then also just someone who's like smart with their money, because also, you know, as an attorney, like, I've met, you know, 6-figure dudes who are not wise with their money and they're living in a bunch of debt. So if the other thing is, like, older women will often say, if a man isn't generous, him making more doesn't really matter, right? Because it's like, he's got all the money, but if he doesn't have a generous heart and he's not using it for the both of you, then what good is it doing you?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
But see, for me, my experience I understand that I'm in a very privileged position monetarily wise. And I don't expect my partner to make what I make. Like, I don't have the, I would like it, but I don't need it. You know, it would be nice, but I've met very few men who have been able to match me financially, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. They had the problem with it, not me. And also, because I'm also in TV, they had issues with the company I kept, as far as like circles I would be in or people that I met. Like, they'd be like, well, you could run into this person.
And I would take digs
on the, you know, like, you could run into the person at this party, and there was insecurity about that. I've literally met men. We've met, maybe they didn't know who I was. As soon as they go on my Instagram, they start acting funny. As soon as they see
those
a
guys
photo
are
with
small.
something.
But
But I'm telling you, it's happened more often than not.
Common.
It is very common. And if they come to my house, if they see I have 2 cars, it's like, oh, you got, you know, it's like I've literally had men start talking about, oh, I don't have this kind of outfit to wear to a red carpet. I'm like, we ain't even been on a date. Who told you need a red carpet outfit?
Well, so let's talk about why it's common. And let's do a little deconstruction by taking the Keke Palmer situation. Okay. So Keke Palmer, Darius Dalton, he says, it's the outfit though, you a mom, right? Says that. Out of line. When I saw a lot of the women's criticisms of him, a lot of them had to do with the fact that she takes care of him. So, and we're lying to ourselves if we didn't see. We're lying to ourselves if we didn't say, if we didn't read, you're sitting up here on Keke Palmer's internet using Keke Palmer's thing and saying that. Now, let's do this. Let's flip that dynamic. Let's say that he is a huge star and she is the mother of his children. He's grinding on Rihanna. If a man comes and says, hey, just to let you know, he takes care of you, so you should not be able to say anything about the way he comports himself, we're not going for that.
That pays the cost to be the boss.
And let me tell you why that.
I see. Oh, they got to reconvene. Look at it reconvene.
So let me tell you something about why everything that we're talking about is so common. It's because, like, men and women are socialized differently, and that socialization doesn't just exist with men; it exists with women. Y'all don't like a do nothing nigga. Y'all like you. But I'm telling you, hold on. Any situation, let's just take celebrity anecdotal stuff. Let's not even go to data. Any situation where a woman is taking care of a man, you're gonna get Chris Judded, you're gonna get Kevin Federline, you're gonna get Casper Smarty, you're gonna get all of that. Famous men marry women who we don't know who they are all the time. The situation is there's a societal expectation from men, and men have that expectation of themselves. Right. And if we're being honest, women have that expectation of men.
Absolutely.
And a lot of the patriarchy that we talk about, if we are going to dismantle it, we have to be serious about dismantling it in an even keeled and very straightforward way. If every single person is valued for what they bring to a relationship because of who they are and how much they put into it, then we got to let the bus drivers off the hook. We got to let the librarians off the hook, and we got to do all of that. And as much as we say, the reason why those men a lot of times are bothered by you is because they think you are bothered by them. Is because they don't live in a society where it's okay to be with a woman that makes more money than you, where it's okay. You said that you had a guy, you're super ambitious. He wasn't ambitious. That wasn't like that was you didn't like that, right?
Right. But the thing is because, mentioning Kiki's situation where people are saying, she takes care of you. It's, which I don't agree with. But the thing is if you're not providing, so there's an older woman that said to me once that it's like, you need, intellectual engagement, physical and emotional, right? Mm-hmm. So, and I guess here we would talk about the fourth, which is financial. So it's like, if you're not providing financially, which is its own thing, what else are you bringing to the relationship? We don't know what else he's bringing to the relationship.
That's not true. That's not true.
What else is he in that example that you gave?
We literally saw a video where she is walking into like this. People don't understand. This changed in a couple of weeks. There was a video where she is walking into to do a late night show, and she's all draped in her gown, and he's behind her holding the baby.
That's right.
Holding the baby and keeping the baby and doing all of that stuff while Kiki goes out to be Kiki. It was never explored what he brought to the relationship. He said something that he shouldn't have said in public. It was very, very stupid. And I think that it was a reductionist attitude that he had about her. But the fact that what was said was this sort of financial domination of him, that he couldn't or shouldn't have said it. And now because he said that automatically means he does nothing for their relationship. That comes from the construct that what he should be doing is taking care of her financially.
Can I tell you why it came up?
Sure.
It's not the fact that he was jealous that she was at Usher and she looked good. That's not what, from the women that I've talked to, that's not what bothered us. I don't even think if he was jealous and had a conversation with her about it, we would have had a problem. We had a problem with the fact that he got on social media and made their personal situation, but that they should have worked out personally, because couples go through dumb shit. And if you're feeling a way about her, because let's not forget, Kiki has had the glow up of the century, because she went from him posting pictures of her and she was looked a lot different than she looks now. And she is embracing that. This is a lot deeper and women can see it. This has nothing to do with the fact that she's at Usher. It has everything to do with the fact that she is coming into her own as a different type of woman. And he is putting that business on social media. And because he wanted to make a fool of her, we made a fool of him.
So this is what I would say to that. I feel that. What I would say is the only retort I would have is that rappers that are with these ladies go on the internet and complain about these niggas all the time. Publicly. They do it all the time. Like, I was there for 9 years. Like, I've covered it. I've seen women that we never know, we've never heard of, we don't know who they are, go, this dude is a shitty father, this dude is a shitty husband, this dude was out with this woman, this dude was doing this. I've seen a situation where there is a hip hop star that gets with another lady hip hop star, and his wife or his girl that's from back in the day that has his kid is mad about it, and it goes everywhere. Nobody comes and says, he's taking care of you, shut the fuck up. Like, nobody does that. And the reason why is because it wouldn't make any sense. Because the way people look at it is that's the way that's supposed to go.
No, they say that. They say it all the time,
I don't,
man.
No, hold on. I don't hear women saying that. Men would say that because men would be like, oh, okay, but I don't hear women going, oh, girl, you got it going for yourself. Don't worry about what is. But when it's on the other side.
But you're talking about men who were caught in circumstances, right? A lot of times when these women are blasting these men, it's because he was cheating, he was out
not
doing
all the
something.
time.
The examples that you used were like, oh, he was
no. What I'm saying,
but Kiki wasn't cheating, and she wasn't doing anything.
He might be
she was
in
having
a video. He might be up
night.
on somebody. Like it, not all the time. Not all the time. But the only thing I'm saying is that like I feel what everybody's saying, but there is a reality here, and I'm for destroying it all. I am for, hey, this is your person. This is your person. I am for you meet somebody, whatever. But I do feel like sometimes we get a head esteem of righteousness, and I do it too. We get a head esteem of righteousness, and we forget that when you said earlier, like we're told to be needed, it's not that we're told to be needed. We're told directly that if we're not needed, then we ain't shit.
Absolutely.
Like that the last thing you can be in life is a man that nobody can rely on. Is a not doing it man, right? And so you bring that with you. And a lot of times you start to feel like when you do become that nigga, that validates every single way that you can act and everything that you can put somebody through.
And there's also an expectation that the man is going to make this money, historically speaking. And I think the guys that, and I can't relate, but I think the guys that are fearful, right? The guys that you're dating, the guys that you guys are talking about, they waiting for Mad Day to come, right? They waiting in their brains, and they might be off base, but I think in their mind, they waiting for Mad Day to come.
What's Mad Day?
The day where she throws it back in his face.
No good.
Y'all like the day when she throws it back in his face.
I'm familiar with that term.
Like, that's what we call it in Louisiana.
Exactly.
My daddy used to say, "I boy." Now when Mad Day come,
Exactly.
she gonna, you know what I'm saying?
I thought everybody said
Mad
that.
Day-
Language I've
That's
never
a real
heard.
thing.
Mad Day could be Monday through Sunday.
Absolutely.
It could be any day.
Pick a day. And so I think that's what they're fearful of, right? And so it shows up in probably some weak ways, right? And in some very insecure ways, but that's really what they're exhibiting. It's trauma, it's fear,
Rachel, you can introduce the next topic.
Okay. Interracial relationships.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Oh, Lord.
Anyways, we talked a little bit about this on Some of the Sexes, and I particularly spoke about a conversation that Shannon and I had. We talked about what appears to be a double standard when a black man dates a non-black woman versus when a black woman dates a non-black man. I see Nina nodding her head over here, so I'm going to you first. Do you think it's a double standard?
Yeah.
And do you think that if there is a double standard, do you think that it's warranted?
I think, again, we're in this really interesting place, right? Because when I was growing up, I only ever imagined myself with a black man. All my friends wanted to be with black men. Even my friends who weren't black wanted to be with black men. Like, black men were highly desired. Mm-hmm. And that's where I saw myself. My parents were still married. I was like, I'm gonna give me a black man. And I will say that has changed for me. And what I have noticed is, so I date every race. I don't discriminate. Like I live in Los Angeles, and let me tell you, if you only date black men, you're not going nowhere. So you got to expand your horizons in Los Angeles. Sure. I can't speak on other places, but in Los Angeles, the dating culture is very different. So you have to expand your horizons if you want to to me, in my opinion, if you want to actively date. And I will say, when I'm out with men who are not black men have a problem with it majority of the time, but they will be with friends who are with women of other races, and it's not a problem. But I will say, like, I've literally, I'm not even joking. I went to sushi with a white man. There was a black man next to us with a white woman, and he said something to me.
What did he
was like, really? And I was like,
What?
really, to you, sir?
That was a joke. You didn't catch it.
He was not joking.
He was not joking. I am dead serious.
That might have been his manager or something like that.
But it was so hilarious and ironic that happened. And I see it, in social media, where I think there are, they say, oh, well, if it's a black woman with a man who's of another race, we're being fetishized. But I don't feel like that fetish conversation comes up when it's black men dating other races. And I don't have a problem with it. What I have a problem with is just saying, like, if I was up here and I was like, I'm never dating black men again, that would be an issue. And I think a lot of times when we hear black men talking about dating other races, that's fine. But a lot of times when they talk about it, it's to bash black women.
Yes.
And that's the problem black women have. You don't have to bash us if you're seeking something else. Leave us out of it.
Yes.
I've never seriously dated a white girl or any other. Well, I've dated a few other girls outside of different races, but I've never seriously dated a woman outside of being black. Like, I love black women. Black women is what I love the most. At the same time, my thoughts on this has changed a lot over the years with my evolution. My brother's married to a white girl. One of my good friends is married. One of my good friends, best friends, is married to a white girl as well. Well, they're not married, but they have a kid together and they're together. So I have no problem with it now. I mean, growing up, I'm like, man, you need a black man, you need to be a black woman, whatever. And because of definitely being from the South with race being such, the way it is, you have these stigmas. But of course, being, a mental globalist, essentially trying to expand that thought, I'm okay with, I've learned that it's actually okay to be in interracial relationships. I think there's a lot of benefits there. At the same time, you have to understand what comes.
Benefits.
Well, what I'm saying is,
you acting like it's Social Security.
No, what I'm saying is there are benefits. Hey, we know they got some benefits from them folks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No, what I mean is there are, in terms of benefits, there are some benefits. I'm not saying all the benefits.
Nah, nigga, what's the benefits?
No, you just mentioned in California, living in Los Angeles, that's an option. Otherwise, you have a lot smaller pickings to choose from. So there's a benefit in having more options to having a person, and then these people look, we know white folks are across the board, they have a lot of them with better careers, you making all this money. More likely, you may end up being with a white guy because of your financial status, maybe. I mean, obviously there are a lot of successful black men as well. So the point, my whole point in saying that is you expanding your dating pool. So you have more options. And sometimes, I don't think it has anything to do with race specifically. I'm just saying you have more options in that regard. So, I'm not anti-interracial relationship. I'm not.
But you sound like you used to be.
I was.
And so if you saw a black woman that wasn't with a black man, why did it rub you the wrong way?
Okay,
I
have a lot of.
I don't want to.
Seriously.
got something to say.
To answer the question, I have a lot
I can tell.
I have a lot of like business going on, so we want to be very careful on how it works on these things. At the same time, growing up again, being from,
Trying to mess this bag up.
and it's Louis, like Dion said. No, but when you think about that across the board, I'm saying.
Talk about your business. Talk your shit.
No, seriously, come on, dog. I'm saying. Growing up in Louisiana, listen, we were taught, my parents taught us, like, listen, be careful if you're dating these white girls because black boys would be found in the river. This is a real thing. If a white girl may say, oh, this guy touched me and didn't have anything to do with it. You may have a consensual relationship. These are the stigmas. These are things that we were taught. So you automatically have these walls up because we're from the South, because of slavery and just Jim Crow across the board. So that's what I mean by that. But I have evolved because a lot of the generations, the people, we all have evolved. We're learning more, so now we're open to these things that we weren't open to before. I know my mom. Look, my sister-in-law is white. And she's from Canada, so she like stone white. And but she's stone white.
Snow White.
But we love her. We love her. And I know my mom. I know they were like asking my brother when he was in Canada with them for. We're like, man, you up there with all them white folks, you know what I'm saying? You're the only black guy up there. That's a real thing. We think the fear of something bad happening, not just, of them, but obviously she comes from a great family and they've been a great addition to our family.
Let me say, look, I don't like the shit, right? So look, I'm just keeping it a buck, right? Keeping it 100.
You don't like it on either side?
I was about to say on
women?
both
No.
sides.
I was,
Oh,
it's
get to
nuance,
it,
right?
Geno.
It's nuance. It's nuance. I understand that. Look, believe me, I understand that love is
It was
love.
Geno at
Look
sushi,
at
y'all. I didn't
me,
want to say
Geno,
nothing.
when you're saying this.
I know.
Geno, talk to
I'm
me.
trying not to look at
Talk
racial.
to
Actually,
me.
I'm trying not to look at racial. Actually, I understand that love is love, right? So I get the concept that I could love anybody, right? Whatever the race, right? And still, I intentionally choose. So I'm going to be with a black woman, no matter what. I intentionally choose to only date black women, and maybe they probably mixed with something else. I don't know. You never know, right? But I intentionally choose to date black women, right? Because I want my kids to look up to this relationship and see something restorative about that, right? About the concept of love and the black family and all these different things, right? Now, with that being said, it's a bit of I'm a bit hypocritical there because when I see a black woman with a white man,
It's a little different.
I can't help but think.
You come from
I can't help but think.
that energy is
Well, no, look.
It feels a little different.
We had to live. Well, not live through us specifically, but we lived through the stories of black women being taken, right? And that's all I can see. That's all I can see is black woman being taken by a white man. That's all I can see, right?
Taken from.
No. I'm talking about forcibly taken.
Sally
right?
Hemings.
Absolutely. I'm talking about non-consensual, and I understand that that's not happening.
So it's like triggering for you to see.
It's triggering, right?
For both of you.
Yeah, but
Well, what I'm saying is,
hold on.
I understand what you're saying.
Let me say this, and on the flip side, if it's a black man with a white woman, I look at it as reparations a little bit. Hey man,
I
get
appreciate
your
you
lick
for
back.
being
Get
honest.
your lick back.
I mean, I appreciate
Do it for the
you
culture.
being honest.
You
Do
know
it for the
what?
culture.
Yeah.
Boy, you need to
That's
relax.
that is a common.
Yeah.
Rachel, you got to speak on your experiences.
Yeah, Rachel, you gotta talk. Rachel.
And I also want to note,
They
because
didn't
I
like
know
it.
that
They
this
didn't
has
like
come
that.
up.
Y'all didn't like that.
I was about to say, I also
like
want to
that?
note this
No,
to note for Rachel, because I've
It's a
known her
joke.
for a very long time, that I have heard certain things come up and everything because she's in an interracial relationship right now. But I've known Rachel for 20
now.
years. I know all of her serious relationships.
married? Yeah.
I
And
know
all
she
of her
likes
serious
black people.
relationships are black men. So put some respect on her name. Stop trying to make assumptions
wait,
about
wait,
her
wait.
We are
based
not
on who
talking
she's
to
partnered
Rachel.
with.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm
What
going to say. Don't make
she
assumptions.
sees is, and I'm curious because you guys feel a certain way, is a lot of people don't think that I am allowed to speak about black women and black men together because I'm in an interracial relationship. They think that I've lost the ability to be able to do that. It's not fair, or I don't know how to take up for black men and black women together. That's more of what she's saying.
Yes.
What you mean?
No,
Yeah, you don't get to tell her
As
that
long
she
as-
doesn't
no,
get to
no,
speak
no,
on
you
this
feel
topic.
safe.
Is all I'm saying.
I get that people think that.
Right.
Okay. 'Cause
Maybe
people
not the
think
best
that I've
spokesman,
lost
right?
my blackness. And
Right.
just to be clear, I wasn't taken. I made a choice.
That's not what
She
I meant.
picked him.
I
get
picked him.
it. I didn't
But
mean
I
She
to.
get-
literally
get
picked
it.
him out of a bunch of niggas.
Not
Literally.
a bunch of niggas.
No, but you're
Not a
saying
bunch
that's
of
like a
niggas.
knee jerk. That's your
Literally.
knee jerk.
That's my knee-jerk
Yeah.
reaction. Right.
I get it.
Absolutely.
I get it.
Julius, Jalen, LaMarcus, Brian. You will.
None of them really.
So look, this is what I'll say. I don't give a fuck. I will say, like, for me, I just have this vision of my family, and the vision is of me and a black woman and some black ass kids watching Harlem Nights, like cracking up, right?
Harlem
You know what I'm
Nights.
saying?
Harlem
Like,
Nights.
I mean, like just the classics, right?
No, don't
I
act like
think
y'all ain't
about,
seen Harlem
what it
Nights.
would be like, me, 3 beige motherfuckers. We're watching American Idol. You know what I mean?
watching American Idol. See, that's
I mean,
what-
that's what y'all.
I
That's
think
what y'all.
you
That's the
lose
kind
your
of shit.
blackness.
What
No,
would you
so-
be watching with them?
I mean, nah, it's good. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be watching like
Meet the
American
Fockers.
Idol, Meet the Fockers, some shit like that.
That's a good movie. That's a
Daddy,
good
I want to vote for him. No, I'm just joking. I'm joking. Really, can I be honest with you? Really, I don't give up. I really don't care. I don't give a fuck. I am from the Deep South. We are from the Deep South. And in the Deep South, there is just like this thing to
taboo.
where it's not even taboo. Because think about this when you think about the South. Think about the fact that culturally, there aren't as many differences as you think. Think about the fact that where I'm from in Louisiana, the culture is like ridiculously strong in terms of the music we listen to, the food that we eat, all of that stuff. That's pretty much shared in a lot of ways, right? We all watch football. We all eat the same food. We worship the same God. We just do all of these things at different places, right? We worship Jesus, different churches. We eat gumbo, different cookouts. We go to see Southern, they go to see LSU, different. I go to see LSU too.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers. So the cultural differences that exist there, particularly in a state with such a rich culture, Louisiana, it's all race. It's all race. It's you are black, therefore this denotes this specific thing about you. That indicator being as strong as what it is just unrelentingly powerful. It informs a lot of the decisions you make in such a specific way. Like it means something if you are a black dude and you are around nothing but white people. It's a choice. It's a thing. And it weighs on you. Now you come out here and you look around and you go to one of these clubs in Hollywood and you be like, God damn, these people, they're getting along. Jesus Christ, it's Ty Dolla $ign, come on, everybody go crazy. You know what I'm saying? And so it is different. But I will say this. I agree with you guys. I couldn't care less about this. The only time I do care about it is, and once again, I gotta keep it all the way real, there is a movement of these niggas ain't shit. Let's try something else.
Whoa.
Wait a minute.
minute.
The whole
Fact.
Yeah,
Wait,
because you also
hold on,
skipped
wait,
the movement of
wait.
I don't date black women
you.
because
That's fine.
they're ghetto.
Hold on,
they do
hold on,
this,
hold
that,
on.
and the
By the
other.
way,
Okay, 'cause that's the only time when
Hold on.
I have a problem with it.
I roundly denounce that, and here's the difference. When we're on this podcast, when a black person says that, when a black man says that on this podcast, I'm on his motherfucking ass. Be it Fresh and Finkelstein or whoever those guys are, whoever it is, when a black man says, I don't fuck with black women, I date white women, I'm on his motherfucking ass.
It's lame as hell.
1000%.
We don't care, by the way. We don't care if you don't date us. Good.
I know, but what I'm saying, but like, look,
Get
look,
your ass out.
Apparently, they don't need us.
do not care.
Hey, look, but what I'm saying is when that
Thank you.
when that
We hear you,
happens,
man.
and you can be real,
We hear you, man.
I'm on top of them,
We
right?
don't care.
When it happens on the other side, hear her out. And what I'm asking for, and so what I'm saying is, for me, it's like, okay, well, let's talk about the real shit that's going on there. I'm like, no, if it's not okay, and I think, just to be honest, sometimes this is where people maybe maybe have an issue, Rach, and let me get down a little bit more, and like I'm doing the whole thing,
Oh, boy.
and sometimes they like if my significant other were white, if it was a white woman, and I was on the podcast, like defending somebody's ability to say, I'm not fucking with black chicks anymore, every black woman in this place would have an issue with that. And they would say, well, of course he thinks that. He got a white bitch in his bed.
But I've never said anything to the opposite.
She hasn't, but what has been done is like when there is a conversation about, because I bring these things to the podcast purposefully. When there is a conversation about somebody who has said, hey, like
The Grand Exodus.
like I'm over black men, boom, 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 boom.
I don't defend that.
Yes, you have.
When did I defend that?
We put it, Donnie, where Donnie at? Like we've like
When have I?
like Donnie.
Is it a
Sweet booty.
specific situation, or I
Sweet booty.
generally
Remember,
say I
pause.
defend
Wait,
women?
Relax. Donnie, I don't like that name.
Yeah,
just
yeah,
for
we're
record.
not co-signing on
Sweet
you.
Beacham.
Appreciate y'all.
We're not
Appreciate
co-signing.
I mean,
Show
is
the crowd,
it
Don.
like a specific incident? Because I don't generally believe in anybody saying that they don't date their own race. What I do believe is being open to dating anybody. And I've always stood by that. And I've always said that I can't stand when people hide their significant others, and I cannot stand, which is a conversation that we've talked about, because you see that in Hollywood with black men, and we can get into that conversation as well.
Ooh, I
and
just been vision insecure too.
and I have a problem where people say they don't date their own race.
So this is what I'm saying. I don't care who anybody dates. I don't. If black women are so fed up or angry with black men that they want to try white guys, fine.
Well, why is it the assumption that we're fed up or angry?
Well, no, what I'll tell you why it's an assumption. First of all, I'm not making this shit up.
lot
I'm
of
telling you
black women
exactly
say
what
stuff
I'm
like that.
seeing said.
We
I'm
are
not
black women, by the way.
No. Oh, wait. I'm not telling you. We did this on the thing. Like I took the comments. Remember the girl, and over the pandemic, she met the white dude, and it was a beautiful love story of a Nigerian lady and a white guy. We did the topic, right? And the only reason why we did the topic, I couldn't care less the fact that they are bringing a new Drake into the world. Like that didn't bother me at all. What I cared about was when I read those comments under there, all I saw was these niggas ain't shit. Been time to let them go. Blah 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 blah. To me, we should not debase each other. If you want to date,
we agree.
If you want to date, I'm telling you.
Apparently,
But I mean, we're talking in
saying-
general, it's ignorance on,
Yeah,
but
but
I just think I think it's really difficult for black men in general to deal with it, because I don't think we've ever had a time where it's been so prominent, where especially social media is very heavy right now. There are a lot of YouTube and TikTok interracial couples, and we see Serenas, and so I think like it's never been as prominent. There haven't been as many public figures that have dated outside their race than now. I mean, I see the way people talk about Eve, and it's like whenever there's a black woman associated with a white man, it's because of money. And, it could never just be because this is the person that she fell in love with. But I think what the lack of understanding is like, since I've been young, it's been something that black women have just had to accept. That like when a black man gets educated and he gets a good job, he's probably not going to be with one of us. And that's something that as you guys were talking about what you're taught when you were young, what we're taught is when we talk about that need and that self-sufficiency, it's because when we were younger, it was like, well, we don't know if this is going to be, if we're in the same place, we're both going to college and we're both getting educated and we both get good jobs. You may not choose me. And so I've got to figure out how to be self-sufficient without you, right?
It's
And
a
that
much
creates
smaller. It's a
it
much
is-
smaller
that is
percentage
so
of black
grossly-
men with black. I mean, it's much smaller.
That was
percentage
a
of black
thing
men with
because
white
it was
men.
always so visible.
Right,
But
yeah.
like it was always
Yeah.
so visible when it happened, and there would be a talk about O.J. Simpson
Right,
or
right.
whoever else was there. But if you
It's way
think,
more
if
black
you
men
think
with black
about
women.
the black men that you really looked up to, rest in peace, Harry Belafonte, my brother, you weren't one of them. But like if you think about you either, Quincy, but if you think about the black men that you really looked up to when you were a kid, like if you think about the ones that were super prominent, most of them were with black women. And
For
even
sure.
today, this issue and what I will cop to myself on is being triggered by this, because this is much less of a deal in actual people's homes
Right.
around the country right
Yeah.
now than we talk about it a lot. But if you just crunch numbers,
I don't know. I think you're in a relationship, so it's different for you. But
I'm
as
talking
a-
about data.
Okay, well, I'm telling you, as a single black woman who
Mm-hmm.
has these conversations, this is a conversation I have with a lot of other black women often, is especially living in LA. Like when we literally just went bowling like 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
And I had a conversation with a mutual friend of ours who was saying she didn't know maybe it's time for her to start dating, not leave black men, but she was like, maybe I should start. And I was like, what you been waiting on?
But that's
You know?
LA though. Remember that like the majority of us, we
Still
live
live
in the South.
Live in the South.
So a lot of times when we get to, and because LA, New York, and other places control the media, these conversations go to like where, like I don't know about Ian friends, but like the people that I'm in, and his family, and his brother and them, but the
Stone white.
He lived in L.A.
Stone white.
He lived in L.A. for 12 years.
But when I'm saying
That's what it happened.
He got a white guy, he came to LA.
That's true.
Yep.
But
That's
like
true.
in a place where there are a lot of black people, I just don't think. I'm not saying that I don't think this is as big of an issue around the country as we think that.
Let me give you an example.
We gotta
of what,
move on, too.
Look around.
Let me give you an example of what dating a white person in the South looks like, right? So, quick story. Kicking it with this white girl, working together. And so we're on break. We walk to the corner store, right? Get a snack, right? As we're walking back, we encounter a black woman, right? And instantly, I'm talking about instantly, you know it's an issue.
Hitting your stomach.
It's an issue, right? You
Yeah.
can see it on her face. You can, I mean, if she was snarling, I mean, it was bad.
Nigga!
Right? And so she comes.
Whoa. We gotta name it. She can't be snarling, my nigga. She can't. We can't make her into a Rottweiler. She was upset. We gotta name it.
Problematic language.
Yeah, we
Okay,
gotta name
gotcha,
it. We gotta
gotcha,
name
gotcha.
it. She wasn't snarling. The sister was a little bit upset.
She was really upset.
'Cause
She was really
we
upset,
caught
right?
that. They'll kick our fucking asses for that.
So here's what happened, right? So she's upset. She sees me. She sees us, and she comes barreling in between us, right? And so me as a man, right? You know, I stop. I turn around because I'm gonna protect the girl, right? You know, I'm with her. I'm standing here with her. I'm not gonna let that ride, right? So I said, "No, I got it. I understood instantly, right?" I was like, "Damn, I won't say this to this woman," but I said, "Excuse you." And she just turned around and mumbled something like "fuck you," you know, walked off, right?
Yo, white man's
And
name.
and so look, and
This is
so
a bad story, Geno.
and so I turned to
Geno, I'm
I
not
turned to
gonna lie,
the
dog.
no. Listen to me. I turned to the girl who I'm with, and I asked her, "Is she okay?" She's like, "Yeah," but I could tell that she's like, you could hear me out. Hear me out.
please.
Hear me out. Look. I knew.
wrap it up, bro.
I knew this was gonna be. No. Hear me out. Hear me out.
Did Tanisha scare you?
Geno, this story is not hitting the way you
Hear
want
me
it to
out.
hit.
I
Hear
don't
me
care
out.
what they say about you.
No.
Bro,
This
Geno,
gets worse.
This
This
is
gets
tough
worse.
one.
Not
This gets
arguing.
worse. This gets
Okay.
worse. This gets worse. She
Hold up,
says.
Bonita.
She said. Hold
Bro, I
on.
don't care what they say. about
She says, "Nah, I mean, yeah." She's like, a couple minutes later, she's like, she's lucky I didn't say what I want to say. Me in my brain, right? I'm like, what? Like what? Like I'm thinking she's about to say, what, bitch? I'm like, what, bitch? She's like, no, you know. And I had no fucking clue because I forgot.
What'd you forget?
She said, no, you know, nigga.
No way.
This is one of the worst stories I've ever
Swear to
heard.
God.
I
Swear
didn't
to
know
God.
this
And
story.
so-
but I
this
did
is
not
like-
know
I
what.
swear to-
Don't
Look at
tell that
Chloe.
story
No,
again.
but here's the reason I
Hey,
tell that
cut
story.
Take that shit out.
Here's the reason I tell that story. I tell that story to say
Hey, Donnie, it's
that
not
it's
going in the
always
podcast,
there.
man.
Dating
Take that shit
dating
out.
white folks in the South, it's always there, right? And so
Swear,
there is
on my
this
mama,
there
this
is
not
this
going
thought that I don't care if you're a black woman, a black man, that
Okay, what the-
they gonna call you a nigga at some point because it's always there. And look, it's funny, but that's real shit. That is real. That's a real That's a real situation that
I believe
happened.
it was a real story because I don't think you could make that up.
I never heard about that one.
And so, you know, as you date, I mean, you're trying to rationalize, well, damn, you actually with a black man, right? And at the same time, you can't even see that I'm the same as this black woman. And so that's what dating outside your race in the South can feel like. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was powerful.
We were gonna do the waiting to exhale rapid fire question, but we're running short on time. So, and
Go
we
for
want to
it.
get these questions answered. I'm sure y'all got some
Sure.
questions. We have like a time for maybe 4 or 5, depending on how long they are and the responses. But
Sure.
got first questions. Raise your hand and I'll give you a mic. No questions.
Wait and exhale then.
Let's
No
do
questions?
rapid fire waiting to
Hold
exhale.
on, wait a second.
Questions.
Boy.
I don't like that. We up here, I'm sweating. It's Amistad in this bitch, and y'all ain't got no questions.
They just found out about Q&A. Ask them.
That story
You're
Geno
thinking
told
about
got
it.
everybody quiet.
Nobody wants to touch
Geno,
that.
I think nobody
don't do that.
that.
Y'all
We
gotta have
trying
some
to
questions about that
process
story.
Can we get a
Y'all
reenact?
gotta have some questions about that story. Yeah, ask
look, I got
Geno.
questions.
So this is what we'll do.
I don't have
Every
answers.
single question will be about that story that Geno just said.
No, don't even placate that.
No.
Like,
Move past it.
No.
you
Do you
okay?
really have a question? Oh.
It was literally about this story.
so y'all don't have no questions for real? Okay.
We got
All
one right here. Hold on.
Wait, what do we got?
I don't have a question. It's more of a comment about what we were talking about earlier. I do think that want is stronger than need because
Yes.
as long as I was wanting a woman, I was thinking I was looking for somebody to fix me. And it wasn't until I got comfortable with myself that I was able to get a woman that wanted me. So it's just kind of
Goals.
There you go.
Beautiful.
That was beautiful.
Fantastic.
It's amazing.
Any
Right.
comments? Any other comments?
Y'all ain't got nothing to comments or nothing? Nothing? Y'all got
Comments,
nothing
no
to say?
questions.
Yeah, they got a comment.
Yeah, comment.
To some of these stories.
No, I like the way she said it.
I bet you did.
Somebody about to get cussed
Directed
out.
that way.
I really enjoyed the forum. It's been really nice, but I totally disagree with the women on this panel.
Let's
Come on,
go.
speak on it. Speak on it.
And it's
Got her mic on.
unfortunate because it's unfortunate because I love my people. Like I absolutely love my people. But I agree with a lot of what Van said. Not to try and recap all of it, but we need Black men.
100.
We need men, period. And we need to not forget that. Okay, that is the most human thing about us. One of the things that turns me off the most is when a man tells me how independent and strong I am. We have been groomed as Black girls to accept or believe that we're so independent and so strong, basically telling us, get used to being alone. Something that Van said made me think of this too. When you said the part about people say they don't need, and this, that, and the other, and it's absolutely that they do need. We all got a girlfriend at the house that don't do nothing. I don't care how much money she makes. I don't care how much she travels. I don't care all the toys she buys. All she's talking about is she need a man. We all got that girlfriend. And it's just like, it's so unfortunate that we don't see that as women. For the men, I wish the men, especially with the ideology that you guys bring, would really try to inspire other men. I think it's unfortunate. I think our generation is the generation that's going to miss out because it's going to take some time of young boys hearing men like you speak and share your ideology behind love and women and just companionship before they grow into it.
Absolutely.
We can't ignore how we've been groomed from slavery on up, you know.
Can I say something to that real quick?
I love it.
It's actually gonna be, it's crazy because like, you know, I lost my dad a couple of years ago, and I'm fucked up in all of the same ways that he's fucked up. Exact same ways, exact same things. And the man was right there. He was right there the whole time. I could touch him the whole time. He took a great interest in my life. He didn't always go about it the best way, but he never fixed himself. So I was raised broken in specific ways, right? And I'm at a point in my life where I get to have agency over who it is that I want to become. And I get to make a decision about whether or not I want to ruin a woman, whether or not I want to raise a fractured family, or whether or not I want to step up to the plate and try to do things differently. And I think sometimes like for me, like growing up, a lot of the things that were put around me were made to make me feel more like a man. And I learned that from my father. So black men, I can't speak to 25 million black men, but like men, period, they have a real responsibility to fix themselves, to do the necessary work to make sure that the people that are around them are healthy and happy. Because if I love my father, love him, I love his memory, but my mom hasn't been with anyone since he passed away. She lives with my grandmother, there's nothing wrong with that. But like our family, there was no family. It detonated. And it was because really there wasn't whatever was needed there for him to kind of put his family ahead of some other things in a way. So black men, we got a lot of work to do, but I feel like we all have to kind of do it together. You know what I mean?
And want need has become it's really semantics, and I think it's just got a little nuance in the whole thing. I think we all are saying the same thing. And I think again, it depends on where you're at, and that's for everybody. It depends on what you're looking for, where you're at. And that's why I was saying, consider the source when you're talking to that, because there are people who are in certain moments where they really do feel like they don't need anybody. And that will change, because we do need people as far as like, learning how to ask for things. I personally wasn't raised to not. My parents are still together. My mom was a very traditional woman. To this day, she still makes my dad his plate. Like,
the fuck
to
I'm
this
talking
day.
about.
Shout out to your mama.
You know what I'm saying?
And I'm like, is she for real? Mind you, my mom uses a
Putting love
cane
on
now,
the plate,
like
right?
still makes this
That's right.
man's
I
plates
love it.
every meal. So I've come from a very traditional household, but I think
The food falling all off the side of the plate, or is
I
it
get
neat?
plates made too.
If it's neat,
I get
you know what I
plates
mean?
made.
Your plates made?
Got to put
She
love
takes
on the plate. I
incredible
love
care.
that.
She takes incredible care of me. One more question.
Okay. Hi. On that note, I am in an interracial relationship and have never made my man a plate. So I'm coming from a different perspective.
What kind of interracial?
there.
What
My
flavor?
partner is he's Japanese, Korean, and white. So
Nah, that's kind of different. You straight.
it's okay. All right, I'll take it. But I will. So comment and question. The comment is that Bell Hooks is all about love kept coming up for me listening to this conversation, and Van, you brought it up a couple times, but patriarchy is at the root of so much of this. Like more than man, woman, it's patriarchy, which is white supremacy, capitalism, that's like getting us all mixed up. And I think we would all benefit from undoing that quite a bit. But my question was we talked a lot about relationships and women holding men accountable, men holding women accountable. I'm curious how and where you guys are having these conversations amongst friends. Like, what are your platonic relationships with women and men? How are these conversations coming up, and are they?
They are for me.
Yeah, we have these conversations
Yeah.
regularly.
Yeah.
I think I don't know about when I look at my friend group. Like we talk about these type of things all the time, and to me, it's all about leading by example. I think like to the plate reference, my wife makes my plates, but guess what? I also make her plates. Or if she makes my plate, I'll wash the dishes or whatever. It goes back and forth. So it's all about balance. Everyone is not in a situation of woman, you do this, woman, you do that. I pay most of the bills because I make a pretty good living, but guess what? If I don't have it, she has it. So it's all about balance. So
But when you're go ahead,
I was going to say, my friends and I talk about this often as well. That's why I think it is important to have friends of the opposite sex, to ask them. Like, I talk to my male friends often and tell them about my dates and how certain situations, and sometimes they're like, you're tripping, like I had a situation where, the text that I sent, I showed it to my friend and he was like, let me explain to you the reasons, like how a man would receive this, right? Versus when I sent it to the group chat with, my
love
female
that.
friends, they were like, no, that makes total sense, right? But it's like, I'm not trying to partner with my friends. They already know me as a person, right? And so I think it's important to understand, because it's like, we show, like, women are going to receive us and see us in a different way oftentimes than men will when you're, seeking that dynamic. So I think that's a really good question. My friends and I talk about this often, that it's important to, and also friends that you don't agree with, I won't name his name, but we talked about like a mutual friend that said, if after 3 dates, you're not having sex, and he won't go on a date with you again. You know what I mean? And I was like, ooh, I'm disgusted by that. You're still my friend. You know what I mean? But it's like, oh, there's men that think this way, and it's important to also, I think that when they're your friends, it's a safer space for the men to be more honest about their opinions, because they're not trying to like get with you, and you can get a better understanding of kind of the way that they're thinking. So.
I have these conversations. I'm like very open with my girlfriends, and I've come into this place where I have kind of stopped talking in general with my girlfriends about like everybody else. And I really have just started to focus on me and what I contribute and how I react, because it's just kind of all over the place. But what I about a year ago got a Black therapist, and it's a Black woman therapist, and it's completely changed my life and also my perspective, how I communicate. She's changed my life for real. And so for me, I've decided to just start taking accountability for my actions. And I think like that has completely changed my perspective. But also like I just had a conversation with a girlfriend who was going through it with another girlfriend. And I was able to help her shift her perspective from like what this other person did to like how she reacted. So I think like it's really important for us, while we're talking about building and responsibilities, that we really take ownership of ourself and how we're reacting, what we're putting into the world, and taking real cause and thought to what we are doing to contribute, because sometimes we are the toxic ones. And I think you have to be honest with yourself about what you're contributing into, not only like your relationships with your friends and family and significant others, but how you're projecting that into the world as well. A lot of us think it's innocuous to leave a funny comment on a social media platform, but that to me is still contributing to that into the universe. So I think those conversations are important to have.
Yeah, give it up for that. That's incredibly well said. I said clap, niggas. But I'll say this to the point that you made a little bit earlier, and this is kind of the sick joke about all of this. And you guys will be okay if I speak just to the Black people here, okay? None of this is us. Like none of this is us. When I say that none of this is us, I mean where you were dropped on this earth and where you were migrated to after thousands of years, it became the place that your culture was born. And there were reasons why the cultural differences between people exist. You can negotiate those reasons or compare and contrast them as much as you like. The reality is our idea of the nuclear family, our idea of what makes up a society, our idea of what makes up a community, our idea of what makes like lasting relationships has all been informed by a Western European view. We were having this conversation. I remember the Black Lives Matter ladies, and man, they had a mission statement on their website. People were pissed off about the mission statement because the mission statement said, essentially, it said, hey, this is what we believe in. And what we believe in is it takes an entire village to do this. And so because it takes an entire village to do this, we reject the idea of the nuclear family. We reject the idea of capitalism. We reject all of these things. And right away, people said Black Lives Matter doesn't like families. Right away, they said they are trying to shoot down, minimize Black men. They're trying to take Black men out of the household. They don't like the family unit. No, what they're saying is they envision a family where I'll take care of your kid while you go protest. They envision a family to where we would share the economic burden of things. And if we had cultures and communities that were more steeped in who we are and what we are and the oral and actual history of where we come from, then a lot of these conversations, we wouldn't be having them, because we would understand that who makes the money in this situation is driven by a little family that becomes a tribe, that becomes a city, that becomes a country, that becomes something that can compete out in the world. And that capitalism is informing that. And Western European patriarchy is informing that. The way we dress, the way we move, Drake's painting his nails, everybody says Drake's gay. The reality is, if you understand that that is us, that Northern African black men painted their nails, that there's nothing about that has anything to do with an idea of femininity other than the one that white men taught you, right? So all of this stuff, really when we're negotiating it, we're losing sight of who we are anyway. My thing is, if we are going to redefine who we are, what makes a family, what makes a group of people that can support us, let's start on the even keel and let's burn it all down. Because I don't judge a black woman for what she wants to do with her life, a black man for what he wants to do with his life. I want strong, intentional, powerful black communities. And a lot of that is gonna be unlearning as much as it is learning. So to your point, all of this, capitalism, patriarchy, misogynoir, all of it. It's steeped in all of it. And we had a good time talking about it, and we'll take it back out. But I think at some point, we got to get back to zero.
Thank you guys for the great questions and comments. And also, first off, give yourselves a hand clap for being here. We really appreciate this. We haven't had that many live audience opportunities, so this has been really fun. And we also just want to acknowledge the lack of LGBTQ plus perspective that we did not have in this conversation, which I just think means we need to have another summit where we do encompass those perspectives and even more. But this was just more of a general summit of the sexes, but it won't be the last. Yeah. Thank you guys.
It wasn't that bad, ladies.
And thank you. It was, well,
This was dope.
it was getting there. Thank you, Nina. Thank you, Shannon. Thank you, Geno.
Thank you, Van and Rachel, for this.
Thank you very much.
We didn't know we were walking.
y'all.
Thank you guys,
Right.
Thank you guys
Thank
for
you.
coming.